Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I'm Stephen Basil, and today we are joined with a special guest, Brett van Zuiden from FilePicker.io.
It's going.
Great. So today we're going to do two things, actually three things. We have a recap of last week's Google I/O. And we're going to talk a little bit about FilePicker and some of the great work you've been doing with Cloud APIs and where things are going. And we're also going to redo a review of one of the apps that was actually at I/O in the sandbox, Magisto. So let's get started with I/O. So Brett, you actually were at I/O.
I was. I thought it was fantastic. Definitely a lot of the cool new stuff coming out of not only sort of new functionality on the web, but also some sort of sneak peeks into where Drive and sort of the rest of the Google products are going.
Did you any particular highlights, things that were your favorites?
The web components has been something I've been watching for a while, and sort of the request autocomplete was actually a new thing I hadn't seen that got me excited.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I like the web components. I'm a big fan of Angular, so I love where all that stuff is going as well. So on the Drive side, most of our talks are now available online on developers.google.com/live and on YouTube. We'll put together a playlist of all the Drive sessions in sometime this week so that you'll be able to find our sessions pretty easily. There are a lot of great ones. One from Ali Afshar about using the app data for syncing preferences on Android, and they actually open sourced a library that was built for that demo, and it's really cool and getting a lot of interest already. Brian and Cheryl also did a great talk on the real-time API that is well worth watching if you're interested in using that API. The sandbox was a great hit. We had 24 different vendors come into the Google I/O sandbox for those 3 days. Some of those were for Google Drive, some were with AppScript, and also the new Gmail feature for having actions. Some really great demos, and we're actually going to talk about one of those later today. This is Magisto, a really, really awesome video editing app that talks to Drive, and Carrie will do a demo and walk through that pretty quickly. In terms of product announcements, we didn't announce too much yet, but there's a lot in store for the next couple weeks. One thing we did talk about earlier before I/O was storage unification. So now your storage for Google Drive is shared between Gmail and your Google Plus photo attachments. And we have a lot of cool stuff coming up in the next few weeks. So let's talk about FilePicker.io. So for those who don't know it, can you just give a little bit of background about what you've been working on and what you're trying to solve for developers?
Of course. So one thing that we're noticing, with sort of the migration of content from the local devices to online, for me at least, and for a lot of users, the cloud is sort of the default hard drive. It's the default place where people are storing their content. And that's everything from services like Google Plus and Facebook and Instagram for their photos to Drive and Dropbox and Box for things like documents, even things like Gmail attachments. And so what we wanted to do was say, let's provide a way for developers to hook into all these different sources and to provide that choice for their users and to be able to access that wherever their users are storing their content. And so obviously, a lot of the Google services play a pretty central role in that, not only Drive, but also Picasa and then Gmail attachments, but also making sure that we connect into some of the other cloud services like Box and Dropbox. And so we really try to put those all together in a nice package for developers so that they can say, hey, I want a profile image, and I want an image, and it really doesn't matter to me where that image comes from, whether it comes from the webcam or somewhere online or even the hard drive. And so we bundle that up for them, provide in a nice clean API, and we take care of the rest.
Sounds awesome. You want to show a demo?
Sure thing. So here you'll see. I mean, this is pretty much as simple as it gets here with the command. So it is a fully JavaScript API. We also have an API on Android and iOS that's fairly similar. But just to show it here, so the command, filepicker.pick, you give us a callback function, and then we hand you back some data along with a URL to the file. So here, that's all the code that's necessary. So here now, if I go in and say, OK, great, let's figure out, OK, this is a pretty good document here. I'm going to upload this. And then we hand back a URL. And now this will actually point directly to the content. We'll also do things like store it on S3 for you, sort of handle a bunch of the other common actions that people want. But for instance, if we wanted to say, okay, what does this look like if we specifically want images? So if we say, we want the MIME type to be image/JPEG, say great, run this, and now the selection will be limited just to the JPEG images. So now if I go here and I select this, oh, see, PNGs are not allowed. I should have known that was going to happen here. So let's close this. We'll say we do actually want that PNG. Go Developers Live, here we go. And uploaded successfully. So now we can take this, and this is a fully functioning URL. This points directly to the data, so that now you get this and successful. So that is it's the full demo of the pick functionality. There's also storing and saving out to the cloud. And
you have similar functionality for mobile as well, right?
We do.
Android and iOS.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah, that is probably about as easy as it gets to integrate with cloud storage.
That's what we try, and a few things here that we really believe. One is I'm doing this all on a Chromebook, and I think that really exposes some of the power and some of the sort of movement that we're seeing. Is I have access to everything that I need on this Chromebook, even if it's not sitting directly on the device's hard drive. Also, you notice we pass around these URLs and one of the things that we think we provide a lot of value in is going from a pass-by-value architecture, where whenever you want to transfer content between Google Drive in your application, or even from the hard drive in your application, it's all done by sending these big blobs around, and so you have to configure your load balancer and Nginx and all those things. Whereas for us, we turn it into a URL for you, and we handle all that, and then you can pass that URL and you can store that in your database, and it becomes much easier to handle.
Yeah, definitely the way to go. So your whole product is an API, and I was just curious what lessons you had for people who maybe there's other areas for services, maybe not files, but other areas of technology where really the product is an API offering. And what did you learn in the past few years as you got started, and what advice for the next filepicker.io?
So, sort of, I'll start with just some of the fun things, and then, get into, I guess, some of the more tangible things. .io is actually a great domain name for signaling that you're a developer product. We, in some of our initial outreach back, before people had heard of us, we'd send emails to people, and at first they'd be like, well, I looked at the email, I thought it might just be some, spammy business person sending me it. And then I saw the .io, and I was like, these guys are developers. .io, especially for us, it's input, output, Google I/O, things like that. So in terms of more of a sort of on the business and sort of strategy side, it's really important that customer support stands first and foremost. When people, and that goes everything from having great documentation to having, real people available to email. So one of the things that we still do is whenever someone signs up, we send them an email from a real person, say, we assign them to a developer that says, I'm here to help you get started. And for a lot of people, whether they're just trying it out or whether they're building it into their production app, that really goes a long way.
Yeah. I definitely agree. That's I've actually talked to a few of the people, and everyone has been super awesome on your team. So I love everything FilePicker.io is doing. I think it's a great way to get started. One of the concerns for me at least is it tends to bring all the APIs down to the lowest common denominator. And I was wondering, what advice do you have for developers in terms of how do they make that decision as to whether or not they use something like FilePicker.io, which is great for reaching a lot of users really quickly, versus going very deep into one of the particular providers and taking advantage of some of the more advanced features? How do you guide people?
So we try to aim for what we call the middle common denominator, right? So we'll do things where we'll sort of up-level some of the APIs that aren't as good and sort of provide the functionality that makes them at least sort of on par with average. What we find though is if you're building a real-time document collaboration service, things like that, of course if there are really those core APIs that you need to leverage, that's great, and we want to encourage that. What we really find is we're sort of going for the the broad use case where people are saying, really what I want is I just want to be able to import content into my application or allow the user to save it out. And there's, all I would sort of want is a chunk of data. And for that, I think that we can provide that very easily. One of the things that we see, that we've worked with a lot of people on is if they need to do sort of folder level operations or like commenting, or there's a lot of richness in the Drive API as well as some of these other APIs. For instance, we don't expose Facebook tags or things like that, right? To sort of unify them together. So there are definitely situations where it's like go for it. Use the traditional APIs. But if you can get away with saying, hey, really, we just want the content, I think we can provide that need for you.
And in terms of adoption and growth, things looking good. We're certainly seeing Drive growing like crazy. I hope things are looking good on your end as well.
They are. It's very exciting. It's one of these things now where we're starting to reach out and hit rate limits, and it's fun though. Okay. It's a lot of fun, and we keep cranking along.
Awesome. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to turn it over to Carrie. She is going to talk about a really cool app, Magisto, and show some of the inner workings of Google life here.
Great. So hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Rowe. I'm on the Drive DevRel team, and I was at the Google I/O the past week, and one of the apps that I was blown away by in our sandbox was this app called Magisto. And what they do, it's a video editing software app, and I take tons of video on my Android phone, like minutes and minutes of video every week, and I never look at it and I never share it with people because it's just not watchable. So what Magisto does is it will automatically video edit your videos for you, and it makes it really easy and magical. So let's take a look. So I'm on the Magisto website, and let's go. And what's great about, continue. What's great about Magisto is it's integrated with our Google Drive product, and so I can select my videos directly from Google Drive. So right here you see on their front page, I can either select a file from my computer or I can select a file directly from the cloud. And so I've taken a whole bunch of videos, and I created one yesterday with our DevRel team right here playing foosball. And so I'm going to select my video, and then the next step is I can select the background that I want. And they have all these really great pre-edited background styles. So let's go with the street beats. And then the next step, once you have your background, is you can choose any music that you want to add. So they're making every step really, really easy for you to make a really great video. So let's see. Let's go with Lady Gaga. And then the third step is you just hit create, and it's as easy as that. And so I've already created the video, so let's take a look. And so yesterday I created about a minute-long video of our team playing foosball. And so you can see that it's now shortened it into a 30-second video. And what it's done is it's selected all of the best clips. So I know I'm not a professional videographer, so when I take lots of video, there tends to be a lot of dead time and parts that aren't as interesting. So it really creates and condenses it into the best content. And it adds in, you saw the background of all the text and images. And then you can add music to it as well. And then when you're done, you can share it with your friends and family. So this is a really great app to help you access your videos more and share them with everybody. And that's it for our app of the week. And I'll turn it back to Steve now to talk a little bit about what we have in store for you next week.
Thanks. And I do believe my team actually won that game. We did get interrupted with a freak quadcopter accident during that, but it was a fun game and great serendipitous moment. So for next week, we are going to be here talking about how you can work for Google Developer Relations. We're going to talk about recruiting, some of the activities that we do, things like I/O, and of course the Google Developer Live broadcasts and other activities. And for those who are interested in applying, we will let you know how that process works and what to expect. One other announcement that I forgot to do earlier was we actually have a winner for a Raspberry Pi. And this is somebody who posted to Google Plus with an interesting anagram of the Google Drive SDK, which turned out to be Desk Evil Do Grog. So it's K. Palmisano, hopefully I got that correct, will reach out to you on the community and get your contact information so we can send you a Raspberry Pi. And we'll have some more opportunities for people to get those in the future. So, of course, stay tuned and join the community and join in next week and learn more about what life is like at Google Developer Relations. Brett, thank you very much for joining us here today. I know we have lots of cool stuff that you can do together in the future to make it even easier for developers. So look forward to seeing how things go.
You and me both. Thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you, Carrie, for the awesome review of Magisto.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching, guys.